Welcome once again to the Party of One podcast, where the gaming table is always set for two. I am your host, as always, Jeff Stormer. This week I am joined by Dungeon Master Ian from the Dungeon Masters Block podcast for a game of Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. Ian is the newest host on the Dungeon Masters Block podcast, which is, of course, one of the greatest D&D advice podcasts on the internet. He was also a competitor on Geek Wars, which was a podcast on the Block Party Network, which was a hilarious, super fun geeky trivia competition show that I was also a part of. And he's developing at least one secret podcast project that, take it from me, you should be pretty excited about. And with all that said, let's throw it over to me in the past so he can get started with the show. Take it past me. Thanks, future me. This week I am joined by Dungeon Master Ian. Ian, thank you for coming on Party of One.
Yeah, it's great to be here. I'm excited to do Party of One. Haven't been here before, so yeah.
So, at the top of the show, why don't you talk about anything you might have going on that you might want the audience to know about, any cool podcasts you're a part of, any projects you're working on, that sort of thing.
Yeah, so I am actually the newest host on the ever-popular Dungeon Masters Block. So if you do ever want to check that out, that would be awesome. I'd love to hear from you. The other thing that I'm working on is a pod that you and I are both on called the Geek Wars podcast. It's a lot of fun, lots of trivia, all that good stuff too. The other thing that that I'm working on currently is something that Mitch has not deemed, or has deemed top secret, I should say. I don't know exactly what's going on, but he's got a project for me, so that'll probably be coming down the pipe for the Block Party Podcast Network. And like I said, we'd be happy to have you come over, check us out.
That's very exciting. Secret projects are my favorite projects.
Yeah, right? I was like, can you give me any clue? And he was like, nope, I'd rather just talk to you in person. I was like, really, Mitch? Really? Okay, sure.
I love that. Oh my gosh, that's fantastic. Alright, so this week we are playing Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition.
Yes.
I am very excited. I've got a heck of a little adventure written. So why don't we dive right in, and why don't you introduce the character that you're going to be playing this week?
Yeah, so this character is one that I actually took to a con with me to play in John Arcadian's Tarrasque campaign. He ran a module at a catacon down in Ohio with the RPG Academy. And he was like, bring whatever kind of character you want, because it's likely that you're all going to die anyway, so let's do this. And so I brought this character named Edmore Cicero, and I made him a Battlemaster Archer. And it's 20th level character. He's a pretty cool dude. He's a monster hunter. That's what he does for a living. And think like big game hunter, like Quartermain from the dime novels. That's what he does. And he's pretty legendary. I mean, he opened up the first salvo against the Tarrasque with 201 damage, just straight up. So yeah, archers are awesome.
I'm very excited about that. I'm a fan of archers. I feel like that's an archetype that doesn't get enough love in Dungeons & Dragons.
No.
All right, so I am ready to dive in. Let's do this. Let's make some magic happen. So we open in the desolate mountain village of Dula Sadaka. It is a quiet, nomadic village on the northern face of the Alabaster Mountains. You have come upon this village after many long nights of trekking through this mountain. You have come here with a purpose. From where did you come last? What did you hunt? And from who did you hear tales of the Ronrice, the terror of the northern face?
So I have come from hunting let's see, what are some good epic level creatures that I could have I'll just say I came from hunting a red dragon.
Cool.
Was terrorizing
Excellent.
the countryside. Took him down, not solo of course, but as part of a party, because that would just still be nuts. So me and my buddies, we took him down. He was terrorizing a small little kingdom, and they contacted me because they knew I was a great hunter. And they mentioned that there might be a problem in the neighboring community, the lords I was working for, and I'm always up for a challenge.
Fabulous. Yeah, so you got word from the lords that there were rumors of this beast in the mountains that was dragging people off in the night and devouring them.
Ooh.
the terror of the Northern Face, the Ronrice. You've heard these tales. They said the best information about this monster would be found in Dula Sadaka. You have traveled a long way to find it, as it is. The information that you had did not say that it was a nomadic village. You had heard that it was stationary, but when you got to where the village was supposed to be, there were only a few, like, hollowed out huts, clearly, like, abandoned. And so you had to, like, follow trails and things to kind of track down where this town was going to be.
Right on.
You finally have come upon... Actually, make me a survival or tracking roll to see how long it takes you to find
28.
Okay, perfect. You have no trouble finding this village. You have no trouble, like, following, because the tracks leading there are very scattered. Like, they're very obviously... They get harder to find as the trail goes on, but at first they are very clearly, like, driven by panic. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of obvious tales of where the trail has gone.
Okay.
You've come upon this fairly quickly. It is like, there's a few, like, sort of, makeshift traveling, like, tents. It's kind of a tent village at this point. You are greeted by a small gnomish gentleman carrying a spear. His name is Goldbrick. And he greets you, and he sort of, his eyes go wide, and he goes, "Oh, you're the Dragon Slayer. This might actually work out."
I've killed a thing or two in my time, yes.
You're different than the others. Perhaps you will bring some measure of comfort to the people around the village. Come. And he sort of walks you around, and the people are cautious but amenable.
Okay.
You may go ahead and ask. You may ask me 3 questions about, because you have a little bit of time before things happen.
Okay.
Because you've gotten here very quickly. Ask me 3 questions about the village, or the people, or the terror of the North Face, etc. Ask me 3 questions. I will answer honestly.
So 3 questions. What time of day and what area of time... Well, okay. So what time of day does the Northern Terror usually, or the Terror of the Northern Face usually attack? And from what direction?
So you're kind of asking around about this, and everybody is very... The way that everybody speaks is sort of with a marked whisper.
Okay.
Everybody speaks very... with intent and in a whisper, as they say, "The beast strikes during the day, when the sun is highest, and when the sounds of life are most prominent. We have figured out that if we stay quiet and mobile, we stay safe. But the beast strikes during the day, and it comes from all directions, but from the upper slopes. So the direction would be from above."
And where have the attacks landed most frequently? In which part of the village?
Well, while we were stationary, the attacks came most notably in sort of the town square where people were most populated. They were definitely attacks made with intent, and with, they were the attacks of a hunter picking on prey when it was most populated and most defenseless. This was something attacking with tactics. So the town square, and so other sort of very populated areas where it could easily grab someone and be gone.
And what is his primary prey? Which people does it usually choose to take first, if it can have its way?
It is an alpha predator. It takes the easiest prey. So, it took Franklin the Large. It took Franklin the Large first. He was a rotund gentleman. He was slower than the rest of us. Since then, we have been careful to protect those that are the weakest among us, but it still targets those that will put up the least fight. It is an intelligent hunter. It bounces in, it abducts, it grabs whomever it can grab the easiest from the town square, and it bounces right back out.
Alright, those are my 3 questions.
Alright. So, you're getting this information, and you start to hear everyone, like I said, everyone is talking with this pointed whisper, as though the thing is listening. No matter where they are, they believe that the thing is listening. Suddenly, echoing through seemingly everywhere in the mountain, you hear the noises of laughter and shouts and crass, kind of offensive stories and jokes. The kind of thing that, they probably, crass jokes that people don't need to be making. You hear this sort of laughter coming from, echoing all around the mountain in stark contrast to the quiet whispers of the townfolk. You see a party of quote-unquote professional hunters have sort of rolled up. One of them on horseback, the other sort of following behind. The other sort of following behind on foot, making a big huff. One of them kind of they start haggling with shopkeepers. One of them knocks over a table because he gets offended. They're making a big loud stink of things.
Do I recognize anything about them? Have I seen... is it a hunter's guild that I would be familiar with or something like that?
Make me a perception roll.
Perception. 18.
Alright. 18. You notice that they are clearly, they are their own guild. They are one of these sort of independent adventuring parties that you've heard some about, but none that you've directly encountered before. But you can tell that they are as you are a big game hunter, you can tell that they are another band of big game hunters, but they are much less dedicated to the art of it, and much more about hey, let's go out and kill a thing. That'll be fun.
Right. Okay.
And they're sort of knocking things over, making a big loud thing. You can see the people, these sort of tired, weary travelers, you can see them getting real uncomfortable with how loud and how raucous they're being. You also notice among the quiet people is one very eloquent-looking elf in black robes and a handkerchief over their nose and mouth, is watching them and then turns around and departs.
Okay. So I make note of the elf. I keep that for later.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna walk over to whoever appears to be the leader of these people, and I'm going to say to him, "You might want to keep it down."
He hops off of his horse, and he's a little bit shorter than you.
Okay.
Maybe a few inches shorter than you, and he's kind of looking up at you, and he lets out this bellowing laugh. This Did you hear this guy? This guy thinks we should keep it down. I'm sorry, are we upsetting your delicate sensibilities? And everybody starts laughing, and the laughs are echoing. And echoing.
Not my sensibilities per se, but unless you want to rain hell down upon yourself, I would quiet.
He, his chest puffs out a little bit. Oh, is that a threat? Are you threatening Are you threatening the great Hogan Hall?
No.
You must not know who I am.
By no means, sir. No, I simply say that the monster that I'm sure you're here to hunt is attracted to loud noises and has carried off many, many people. So please, unless you want the monster to come, please keep it down.
Is that all? Do we just think the monster's gonna come? Hey, monster! 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 And he starts, like, real loudly calling out the monster. And he kind of looks at you and, like, gives you one of those, like, he flinch, like, he does the, like, feign a punch thing where he's like, yeah, what? What are you gonna do about it? And everybody around him is, like, laughing and kind of, like, jostling him a little bit. They're clearly getting a kick out of it. You get the vibe that they might know who you are, or at least your reputation, and might be trying to, like, pick a fight a little bit.
Clearly, you don't know what you're doing. So please, spare these people the time, the danger, and your pompous self, and go home. Let the professionals handle it.
I really don't think that you know who I am. I am Hogan Hall. I am the greatest hunter in these mountain ranges.
And
these
am Edmore Cicero.
Oh, that's Cicero.
So please, do us all a favor. Be quiet or go home.
I think at that moment, the others sort of, like, quiet down after they hear your name. They know you. And Hogan knows you. They all know you. They all quiet down. Everybody starts to turn around and starts to, like, the guy that knocked over the cart starts to, like, pick up the cart a little bit.
That's more like it, sis. Your name is Hogan, is it not? And what brought you here exactly?
He smiles a bit, and, like, his crowd has sort of dissipated a little bit. And he smiles, and he kind of puts a thumb to his mouth a little bit, like wiping away a little bit of that pride that he lost when his gang backed off. And he's like, I am here to prove that I am better than the most dangerous thing on this mountain. And he smiles a moment too long. Does a 22 hit your armor class?
22 does indeed hit my armor class.
Take 2 plus strength for an unarmed attack. Take 5 damage, subdual damage, as he clocks you in the jaw. And draws out, 5 damage as he cocks you in the jaw, draws out his sword and says, your move, friend, the most dangerous thing on the mountain.
I wiped the blood from my cheek a little bit, over my lip, because I assume he cocked me in the face. And I say to him, well, this is not the first barroom brawl I've ever been in. And I take my 40 movement speed back away from him.
Alright. So he's drawn, on his turn, he like pulled out his sword. He sees you do that, and he's a little bit, like, taken aback. He's like, that was faster than I thought. And he starts to, like, put his sword away. And he looks around to the crowd, or to his gang of, there's, like, him and 2 other dudes. It's 3 people. And he, like, puts up a hand, and he just points at you. Yeah, he points at you. And he just says, get him. And they all draw out their heavy crossbows. It is now your turn, as they have all taken action to draw weapons.
Okay, so I have to take my turn to draw my bow.
All right.
Yeah, so that's my turn, because I didn't have a weapon out yet.
They both roll a 14 or a 13. I assume do not hit your armor class.
No, they do not.
All right. And a Okay, yeah. So they start opening fire, and their arrows are just flying all over the place. They're kind of just shooting almost to freak you out. They're shooting. They're thinking that you're gonna back down if they start shooting bolts. So their bolts are going wide, but none have hit you.
Okay. I'm going to return fire because, I don't like to start fights, but I finish them.
Sure.
So I'm going to take it that a 15 plus 11, 26 will hit one of them.
26 will definitely hit any of them. You have your choice. There is Hogan, who is wearing armor, who's wearing like proper armor, and then the two others are wearing sort of like the two smaller guys in the back are wearing splint mail, and he is wearing more plate mail.
Okay, so I'm going to shoot the archers because Hogan had tried to attack me with a sword.
Yeah.
And I'd rather take out the long range people first, so I'm going to hit one of the crossbowmen.
All right.
For 28 damage.
Okay. Still standing, but he is just about bloodied.
Okay. So
in the D&D
second
lingo.
attack is going after him again.
All right.
And 22 hits.
Yes. Easily.
Or 8, 10 plus 8, 28 for the second arrow.
You exactly... oh no, he's got 2 hit points left. He is barely hanging on.
Okay. So
describe your hits.
So my first
you got one more attack.
No, I got 2 more attacks.
Oh, go
fighter.
Please.
Yeah. So so the first arrow would hit him in the shoulder. The second arrow hit him in the leg because, taking out the most important parts first.
Sure.
Does an 18 hit?
Yes.
A low roll for me. Okay. Yeah, that one, just the damage die alone, take him out. So, 7, 11, 14, so 32 takes him out. Arrow through the center of the forehead.
Yep.
And he's done. Next, the last attack that I have is going after the other crossbowman, and I'm going to expend a superiority die to use a maneuver called Disarming Strike, and I'm going to target his crossbow.
Okay.
That was loud and not in the box. But 28 would hit.
Definitely with ease.
So I got to add another die to my roll here. 8, 9, 13, 14, plus 18 is 32. So 32 damage total, and he has got to make a strength save.
Okay. He gets a 13. I believe he gets a 16. Let me just hop over and find out exactly. Yep, he gets 16.
16 does not beat the save, so he drops his bow.
Yep, you knock it right out of his hands.
And that's
you knock him at that much damage. You knock him like on his ass, and he has to like clamber up, and his thing is gone. He's like,
I look at him and I say, "Run."
Yeah, he's gonna run. He just saw his friend get taken out. Hogan is gonna charge at you.
Okay.
And gets a 16, 21.
21 will hit. What's his movement speed? Because I moved 40 feet away from him.
Oh, you know what? He actually gets his movement speed is 30, so he's only going to get so close to you. I don't think he actually can make it on a charge.
Oh, on a charge? Yeah, I don't know. Charge is twice running speed, isn't it?
Okay, what? Yeah, then he gets to you. He's going to charge you. He hits you for 2d6 plus 3. 10 damage.
Okay.
As he just runs at you and just slices you with the sword.
Alright, so then... man. I'd have to make this attack at disadvantage, but... It's the only weapon I've got in my hand right now. You know what? What is the... Hang on, I'm reading through my... Yeah, so I'm going to use my evasive footwork.
Okay.
I'm going to expend another superiority die. And I'm going to take my movement speed, move 40 feet away, and add 12 to my armor class.
Okay.
Until I stop moving. So I know he probably gets an attack of opportunity because I didn't disengage, but I doubt that he's gonna hit a.
I don't think a 12. I don't
32.
think his final result was a 12, so I think you're good.
Okay. So I take my movement speed and I'll use the dash action on that to move up to 80 feet.
Okay.
So now there's some distance between us. It is his turn.
Okay. Well, he's not going to be able to get to you, so he's going to pull out his crossbow and, like, get ready to take aim and, like, mutter under his breath, taking aim at my prey, and you could probably finish this dude in a turn. So if you go ahead.
I am going to... Yeah, I'm just going to shoot him. Crit.
Beautiful.
Let me grab all my damage dice. So hang on. It's a D8, 2D6. 4, 6, 12, 14. Again with the 32.
Alright. You blow him backwards. He staggers to his feet. Blood is spilling out. And he's just like shaking his head like, huh? And alright, yeah, and he's like, okay. Alright, that was he yells out, that was pretty good. That was okay. That was alright. And he's gonna take out his crossbow, and he takes a shot at you. It does not hit. It is now your turn.
I'm gonna look at him as I'm knocking my final arrow. Do you really want to finish it this way?
And yeah, so he sees you knocking the arrow, and he just sighs, and he throws down the crossbow, and he says, "It's your problem now." And he just, like, trudges off through, like, the ankle-deep snow. He's just like, ugh. And he, like, trudges off. He picks up his friend. And, like, he just kind of waves the other guy. And the three of them walk off. And the townsfolk kind of surround you. And they kind of in whispers, they're like, oh my god, thank you. Because they've been here for days. And they have not. They have been jerks for days.
4 days. Got it.
4 days of just the worst people on Earth.
You're quite welcome. I hate people who aren't professionals. It's my pleasure. I'm going to take a quick scan at the sky, because that was a lot of noise. You know?
It's quiet. There's storm clouds in the distance, but still, you're okay. You're alright. You hear, however, like that silence is broken by, in the extreme distance, to the northeast, up the slopes, you hear like a low rumbling that sends everybody scrambling to their tents. And like Goldbrick looks at you, spear in hand, and he's like, it stirs. It's not on the move, but it's awake.
Well, then I better get to hunting.
Godspeed. Gods be with you.
And thank you. So yeah, I'm going to, based on the information that they gave me, I'm going to start tracking it up the mountain, if I can.
Okay. Make me another survival roll. This one will be opposed.
Survival. Okay. 28 again.
Okay. You spend some time moving through the mountain. You're swift of foot, you are breathing, you're breezing through it. Yeah, you are breezing through the mountain. Make me a person. Now you're breezing through, like, the snow is sort of piling up, it's now up to your shin, but you move so soft of foot that at times you are walking across, like, freshly laid snow. You are that swift and that cunning and that good at tracking. The grumbling grows louder, like, it grows more prominent. As you're going, you see this perfectly soft, flat, untouched clearing in a sparse bit of wood. Make me a perception roll.
25.
You see, it looks serene, except you have the eyes of an eagle, you have the eyes of a hunter. You can see it looks serene, but it looks so serene that it must have been arranged this way. Suddenly, the hairs on the back of your neck stand up. You realize you're not alone
either
here.
Try to make some sort of survival. Is there anything around that would kind of give me a clue in as to what sort of creature this is based on previous experience? Like nature.
Yes, make me two nature rolls.
Nature is not my strong suit, but the first roll is going to be a 14. The second roll is going to be an 18.
Okay, so what I'll tell you is the 18, you get a pretty good idea of two things. The 14 is not enough to give you an answer on... there's a question that lingers, but the 18 tells you two key things. One, you are dealing with some sort of great mountain hunter, one of these natural beasts, something that is impossibly old and impossibly massive. You get the sense you've heard of like mountain lions or things like that attacking with the way that they described it in the mountain, but never something attacking a person like that.
Okay.
So you get the sense that this is something that is large enough and powerful enough, a keen hunter that is big enough to grab a person.
Right.
You get a sense that you're dealing with a Yeti. This is a Yeti.
A Yeti?
However, the thing that you don't know, or the other thing that you know, and the the dangerous revelation you have is this clearing that has been clearly made to look pristine, even though something has clearly been here. This is not a Yeti's nest. Whatever is here and whatever you know to be watching you at this moment is not a Yeti. There's something else stalking these mountains as well.
That is rather disconcerting.
Roll me initiative.
Okay.
Because I need to see if something happens.
My initiative is plus 10, so 21.
What is your dex bonus?
5.
Okay. Yeah, so you are here. What happens is, because you just... I'm trying to remember if you made that perception roll or not.
I had a 14 and an 18 for my perception.
Yeah, you did make the perception you made before that. You did make. So yeah, you made that perception roll. So what you see is lurking in the upper branches of a tree is that same elf in the black. Though the elf is now changed into snowy white to blend in with the snow environment. Mm-hmm. That elf is watching you from a tree with a light crossbow in hand aimed at you. Okay. And it is your turn.
I'm gonna hold my action until I see what's going down. Because as Edmore's character, he's very cautious in general, and he doesn't like to start a fight. So he's going to. Yeah, I'm gonna hold my action until I see what exactly the threat is.
Okay.
Yeah.
He is going to attempt to. I'm gonna say he's going to. Okay. Then actually, because that is the exact right response to this, he lunges from the tree and lunges at you, and the two of you, roll on the ground. Make me a social roll, charisma or diplomacy to get some information out of him as he's diving at you from the tree branch, right? He throws his crossbow, he pulls out a short sword, and now he has it to your neck.
Okay, so I'm making a diplomacy roll, you said?
Yeah.
Okay. Alright, so charisma. 19? That's
okay.
+1 for me.
he rolled a 4, so you've won him over.
Okay.
He's got the knife to your throat, and in a whisper that seems so quiet it does not bother the branches of the trees, he says to you, "Do you think you can take it?"
Depends on what it is, but I haven't met a creature that's bested me yet.
And he says to you, "That crowd in the town, they were ill-prepared. You showed them that." And he hops up off of you, and he puts away his short sword, and he offers you his hand. And he brings you up.
I dust myself off because the snow is cold.
I apologize for the rough introduction. It is how we tend to do business in my circles. And he offers you his hand. "My name is Nasta. I am a hunter-assassin of sorts."
Well, I am Edmore Cicero, a hunter by profession.
And he guides you silently back through the woods to a small, one-person campsite where he is set up apart from the town.
Okay.
And he says, "I've been tracking this thing for a little while. I've been following the rumors, much like I assume you've been following the rumors.
Yes.
If I'm being honest, though, I think this may be outside of my expertise. I think this may call for someone more trained in the hunt, like yourself. But
what leads you to that conclusion?"
Well, see, Hogan and his band were not the first to come through here, but they were the first to hang around. Partially because I think they were afraid to actually go into the northern slopes. Unfortunately, none of those that have gone into the northern slopes have come back. And while I am very good at my job," and he kind of smiles, and you look over the serene area that a less skilled hunter would have walked dead into this trap. He smiles and he's like, "I'm very good at my job. I don't think that merely drawing the Yeti into a trap is going to be enough. Do you catch my drift? This thing is dangerous. I've studied Yetis before, but this is not a normal Yeti. This is a worse thing. This is smarter and bigger and scarier. I think I'm feeling a little out of my depth, if I'm being honest."
That's all right. At least you were professional enough to know that you were out of your depth. Though I think 2 bows stand a better chance than 1, if I'm being honest.
I like where your head's at. But I suspect I may be... Here's what I don't want... I'm going to level with you and say I don't want to face this thing head on. It's not my style. But what I'll do for you is this. And he kind of like waves his hands to the trap that he's laid, and he says, I can help make you a trap. We can draw this thing in, you'll get the jump on it. This is where I thrive. So what I'm going to offer you, Ian the player, is in leading into this big boss battle that we're about to have as you face off against the ancient and powerful Yeti. Because you did not engage the assassin in combat and thusly did not have to fight him, I'm going to give you 3 advantages that you can lay out in this fight. 3 things that allow you to set the fight on your terms.
Yeah, I'm going to want at least something that will slow, even if it is ever so temporarily, its movement. So that way I can, get as many shots on it as I possibly can.
Sure.
Before it can get within closing distance. Because if this thing is a Yeti, I don't want it to hit me. This guy is based, Edmore is based all on mobility and all that kind of thing. So, with that in mind, some sort of snare to hold its leg or something of that nature to limit its movement speed for as long as you deem appropriate. Sure. My first advantage.
He lays out like a rope trap, and he's like, this should. And he's kind of watching this guy. He's like, it should catch this if we are just right in how we draw it out.
Okay. Some sort of snow camouflage, if that's at all possible, because it is snowing. Oh, wait, no, I can glamour my armor. Never mind. I forgot about that. So I can make it white. So, let me see. Second, we will go with some sort of... he's an assassin, so I'm going to want to see if he has some sort of trap that he can set up that's like poison barbs or something like that.
Well, yeah, what he has actually is he offers it to you. He has a poison that you can put on your arrows to poison the thing. Because he's like, what I've got is like poison that I put on my arrows. So you can have that if you think it'll help you.
Yeah,
so then I have a thing that I'll give you that effect when you shoot your arrow at him. And I'll give you three arrows of that.
Like I said, I want to limit his mobility as much as I can. The rope trap, the poison. I want to set up some sort of device or some sort of not trap per se, but something to funnel it into like a bottleneck of sorts, where I would have the high ground.
I'll give you the high ground. So what happens is, Nasta like points you to a ledge, where he's like, it won't last for long because this thing is a jumper. But he points you to a ledge and says you'll have the high ground for at least a few shots.
Okay.
So what I'll give you is, the high ground, which will give you advantage on ranged attacks until he gets on level ground with you.
Alright. That's yeah.
Okay.
That works for me.
So what happens is we get one of those really cool, iconic, like, arming yourselves, like, prepping to fight Dracula montages.
Mm-hmm.
As you, like, lay all these traps out. And the assassin, Nasta, looks at you. He looks up at the sky. Storm's coming. Be safe, friend. I'll see you back at town. And, like the snowy wind, he is gone.
Alright.
Except, like, And with his departure, there is a cry around you, like a Yeti. There's a Yeti cry around you, and you see a shadow from above leaping in. The Yeti lands in the ledge, but like on the valley below you. Right,
All right.
where the rope trap is set. Nasta did his job perfectly. The rope trap grabs his ankles. Now let me describe the exact Yeti that you're looking at. Because it's not just a Yeti.
Okay.
This thing lands, and it is huge. It is 30 feet tall. What? It is hulking with muscles. It is intelligent, because you see that it's been wrapping wounds in bandages, so it's kind of like bandaged up a little bit. And it lands, and the rope that is supposed to be large enough to grab both of its ankles grabs one of them. And it traps him for a second, but it's only going to be for a few seconds.
I'm picturing in my mind something like Gigantopithecus or something like that. You know, the big monkeys. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Like King Louis from the new Jungle Book. It's
yes, very much so. But just white with the blue face and the horn.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. And it lands in front of you. It lands, the rope goes around one of its ankles. It's supposed to go around both. And it looks around. Make me a stealth roll. As it tries to, spot you. As it knows that it has been trapped, which means there's a hunter.
Stealth is where I excel, because, so 12 and 11 is 23.
Great. It does not see you. It does not see you yet, but when you make your attack, it's not going to get its full armor class up front.
Okay.
Oh, no, yes it is, because it doesn't have a dex bonus. Ha! Okay, never mind.
It's not flat-footed. Dang it. The first thing that I'm going to do is hit it with an arrow of sleeping.
Okay.
Or at least try to. It needs to make... it's a wisdom save of 15? 14? 15. 15.
Okay.
If it doesn't, it goes to sleep until... if it's for 1d4 rounds. So, it's my first shot is what it's going to be. Is a 20... Where did my character sheet go? Oh.
Definitely hits, yes.
Yes, okay. So it does a 26 hit its armor class.
Oh, without a doubt.
Okay, so here we go. The initial damage is going to be 4 plus 2 plus 2 is 8 plus 18 is 26. And now it's got to make its save.
Okay. You see it start to lumber. It falls forward a little bit, but it catches its hand, and it you see its eyes do the thing where the pupils dilate and then go real small again. And it barely hangs on, but that pump of adrenaline of something just shot me is enough to let it hang on.
Oh, that's a good idea though. Alright. Now I'm gonna hit it with one of the arrows that I was given with the poison on it.
Okay.
That one is a crit. So, is there anything special about this poison that I need to know before I roll damage?
Let me find out. I think it's just something that happens on a hit. On a hit, makes a Constitution saving throw, takes a bunch of poison damage on a failed save, or half as much damage on a successful one.
Okay, so here's the damage roll. Because, yeah. 4 is 8, and 5 is 13, 15, 18, 36, plus whatever he's going to take from the poison.
Okay. So. Alright. So you've staggered him pretty heavily. Oof.
Did he
that
fail
poison that poison did he did fail to save, and that poison did the trick.
Oh
So
man,
he is weary.
he is
He is
weird.
beaten down.
All right. Well, I get 2 more attacks. So, I'm gonna pull out one of my firestorm arrows because this is a creature of ice. So, educated guess. This does an additional from tribality.com, as a matter of fact, does an additional 2d6 of just fire damage. So, from this
Oh,
arrow.
beautiful.
That was almost bad, but does a 16 hit it?
Oh, just barely, yeah.
Whew. Okay, that was a bad roll. I rolled a 5.
Woof. I love that a 5 is I love that a 5 is still just barely hits. That makes me feel really excited about how this fight is going.
Yeah, well, I got a plus 11 to hit, so yeah. So 12 fire damage, so we got max on that. And for the bow, it's going to be 12, 15, and 18 is 33.
Okay. With that flaming arrow, it punctures the Yeti's throat. The traps worked, the poison worked. You have felled an abominable Yeti.
Oh, wow.
You may add that to your hunter's reputation. You stand on this ledge, you look down upon your successful quarry, and you smile. And, you feel the warmth of having saved these people,
Mm-hmm.
and you feel the warmth of, a hunt well done, and you feel that warm, wet dripping down the back of your neck? What is that? Is that blood? Why is there blood dripping down the back of your neck? Is it...
I don't know.
Hold on. 7... Does a 20... Is it because a 24 hits your armor class?
A 24 does indeed hit my armor class, because
That would be why you feel that warm bloody feeling is you put your hand back to feel the warmth, and there's a bolt. Right in the back. It struck you so quickly and silently that you didn't fully realize that it had hit you.
Okay.
Make a Constitution saving throw.
Fortunately, fighters are proficient.
9.
Does a 22 make the save?
Yes, easily.
Okay.
9. So take 9 damage from the bolt.
Okay.
9, 10, 16 damage from a sneak attack. And
Hang on, I gotta do math now.
9 more damage from poison. Where are you at health-wise?
185.
Oh, okay, you're good then. You're fine. I was a little worried because I threw a lot of damage at you. But I forgot that you have a shit ton of health. Great.
Yeah.
So you feel that. You feel the poison rushing, and you sort of, shake it off, but you still feel it burning you real deep. You feel the dart in the back of your neck. And, you turn back, and there is Nasta. And he sees you, and he sees you kind of, wavering with the poison just a little bit. And he throws you the most sickening of smiles, and he's like, "Look, all that matters out here is that the Yeti was taken. Whoever ends up back in town gets the credit. You can't blame me."
That guy. I guess there really is no honor among thieves.
Hey! He looks at you, hey! I'm not a thief, I'm an assassin.
Now you're trying to steal my kill.
Yeah, well... Fair.
Well, nothing. I turn around, bow in hand, and I'm going to attempt to disarm him.
Okay.
Because he started a fight.
Yeah. He's like, yeah, well, fair, as he's loading his crossbow. Take your shot at him.
Okay. Ooh, that bounced out of the box. 14 plus 11 is 25.
That hits.
Alright, so the normal arrow. 12 plus 18 is going to be 30.
30
and he's
damage.
going to have to make a strength check.
Okay. 8.
No, that definitely fails.
That definitely fails.
Yeah, it's 8. The check is 8 plus my proficiency, which is 14, plus my dex modifier, which would make it 19.
So yeah, you shoot the crossbow squarely out of his hand. It goes flying. He is going to attempt to descend into the shadows. He's going to make a stealth roll.
I have 3 more attacks.
Oh yeah, right. Go. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot that you're going to just destroy this man in a round. Yes, go ahead.
Right. I'm going to take one of the poison arrows that he gave me, and I'm going to give him a taste of his own medicine.
Womp womp.
And he's going to get hit for sure.
Sure.
Because I rolled a 29. He is going to take. Let's see, 9, 12. He's going to take another 30 damage.
Okay.
Plus, he's got to make that Constitution save, whatever
Yes.
he's got there.
He gets a 10, 12. He has to make it. He does not succeed. Oh, he's done. He is. Yep, he is exactly done. You shoot him with the poison arrow, and he kind of smiles at you, and he just points up one finger. Well played. Well played. And he just falls backwards into the snow.
Yeah. So then I'm going to make the trek back down the mountain, assuming nothing else decides to attack me.
Nope, nothing else attacks you. You've come back to the town. People are overjoyed to discover that you have felled the Yeti. People are overjoyed to hear that they can return to their village. And, yeah, so Goldbrick, he brings you into his hut. And he says, "Thank you. I am sorry that we can't offer you much, but I can tell you that if ever you were to find yourself in the mountain again, you have a home.
Well,
You have a home
sir.
in Dula Sadaka."
Thank you very much. And don't worry about payment. I mean, the thrill of the hunt is enough for me.
And he leans in and he says, "Oh, well then perhaps I do have a payment for you." And he kind of leans in and he says, "Have you heard tale of the mountain dragon?"
A mountain dragon? Sounds intriguing.
And that's game.
That's awesome. That was a lot of fun.
That was a lot of fun. I love that.
Yeah. So fighter archers, man.
Oh, man,
Yeah.
Ian, thank you so much for coming on Party of One.
Not a problem.
Hold on,
Thank
wait.
you for having me.
We're gonna talk more about archers in a minute, but I gotta do the wrap up stuff and then we'll.
Yeah, that's fine.
Ian, thank you so much for coming on Party of One. This was a blast.
It was a lot of fun.
Real quick before we wrap up, where can people find your work online?
You can actually go to either Facebook or Twitter. Search the Dungeon Masters block on Facebook. You can also search DMs_block at DMs block on Twitter. And you can also go to our Patreon, which just go to Patreon and search the Block Party Podcast Network. And that will get you all the stuff. I am also available on Twitter at Ian, my first name, IAN, M as in Michael, RENWICK. And that's at Ian M. Renwick on Twitter. So you can also get a hold of me there.
Excellent. Well, I'm going to throw it over to me in the future so that he can wrap up with the show. Take it, future me. Thanks, Fast Me, and thanks again to Ian for coming on the show. That was a hoot and a half. Be sure to follow all of the shows on the Block Party Podcast Network, past, present, and future, at blockpartypodcastnetwork.com. You can also follow the Dungeon Masters block on Twitter at DMs_block, and Ian on Twitter at Ian M. Renwick. You can also follow Party of One on Twitter, Party of One Pod, like the show on Facebook at facebook.com/partyofonepodcast. If you enjoyed the show, consider telling a friend. iTunes reviews, social media shoutouts, and word-of-mouth recommendations help the show do bigger, better, and cooler things. If you really enjoy the show, consider backing us on Patreon at patreon.com/partyofonepodcast. Patreon backers get access to weekly designers notes where I talk more about my approach to running multiplayer games with 2 players. They also get bonus audio for the show. For example, Ian and I talked extensively about archers and character optimization. You'll get to hear that on the Patreon, and a ton of other cool stuff. If you want to hear more from me, check out All My Fantasy Children, the podcast where Aaron Catano and I take your listener prompts and turn them into beautiful, thriving, vibrant role-playing game characters. This week, it's a double feature. There was a dark magical blizzard that separated Aaron and I, so we recorded 2 separate solo episodes featuring the same prompt. So you get to hear Aaron tell the story of Primrose, a celestial druid, and me tell the story of Trance Halford, a galactic, well, a sci-fi podcaster. There's no other way to put it. Party of One is produced and edited by Jeff Stormer and Jen Frank. All music for the show comes from the song Infinite Lives by Mega Ran featuring the D&D Sluggers. If you'd like to inquire about advertising rates or about coming onto the show, shoot me an email at partyofonepodcast@gmail.com. That's it for me. Until next time, thank you for listening. Oppose the forces of fascism every single day. And party on.
Never gonna die.